Welcome to the Pitch Strike Chronicles. I am Tats. I am here with Rob. We will be breaking down what was a very wild game in Boston. Very sloppy play by the Sox to give the Yankees the edge. We will be breaking it all down right here on Pitch Strike Chronicles. All right, welcome back. I'm Tats again here with Rob, and that was a very stressful but entertaining two-game sweep up in Fenway. After the first game, like we discussed, and then with last night, Glaber is looking a lot better at the plate, and I think it's that one that the Little League home run in their Little League park. That was just one of the, like a circus. That's all it was. Boston just didn't know where to throw the ball, who was catching the ball, and Glaber was just chugging along. And it was very fun to watch. And then what made it even better was hearing John and Susan trying to break down the play. So, that just added to the fun of it because, they have their scorecards and they're trying to figure out who the errors on who, the errors on what. So it was just one of those that did prove to be the key moment. But I also want to put the emphasis on Nestor Cortes Jr. and his start, where you saw I think they let him go up to 60 pitches before pulling him out. But he is pitching really like our ace.
Yeah, he was at 65 for the night, which got through 5 innings, which is impressive because usually you don't have that pitch count through 5 innings. So, yeah, aside from that little bump in the road he had in the middle of the year, he's been much better than anybody else in the staff. He's been the ace, better than Cole, better than Sevy when he was healthy, better than Montgomery when we had him, better than all of them.
Yeah, but his pitch count efficiency was a key factor to that. Even though the Yankees have a lot more off days scheduled into the end of their season, any chance you get to not have to use that bullpen as deep, then that's always a plus. Because he could have had, like you said, he could have had 65 pitches in the 4th inning. Then what do you do? Now you're extending the use of your bullpen. That's more pitches, more innings that they're going to have on their arms going into the postseason, which is really what everything calculates down to October now. All right, how are things looking for October? How are things looking for who's rising up the ranks again? Who will be beginning to trust again? And you're starting to see a lot of those key pieces that we're going to need fall into place.
Yeah, well, that's why they have Clark Schmidt, piggybacking, I guess, off of Nestor until we get to October. It helps because then we only had to use our back end guys for 2 innings. However, they both struggled. So that will happen at times, but it's good to have a guy like Schmidt that can throw multiple innings because when you're putting a guy like Nestor on a pitch limit, you need that extra couple of innings from at least one arm. So Schmidt's that guy right now until we get a couple of healthy arms back.
Yep. So, Nestor is so good because he pitches. He doesn't try to overpower guys. He's like a modern-day Maddox. Locate your pitches, and you get people out. It's fun to watch. Nestor's very fun to watch. It really is. And, yeah, I think the Maddox comparison is fair. I don't think that could be, looked at as an exaggeration because we all know what Maddox's status was. But he also works very efficiently. He's not sitting there staring in for 20 seconds, trying to figure out what to pitch. He already knows. Him and Trevino, they work so well together. It's like they already know what the other one is thinking before the ball is even in play.
That's why we have a good catcher.
Yeah.
You need it. You need it. From day one, Trevino seemed to be locked in with his pitching staff, except for Cole because they had Higgy catch him in the first few starts. But Nestor is just locked in. I don't think he's Maddox-like in the way he pitches, I guess, because he works quick and he locates. He doesn't use overpowering stuff. But I don't want to compare him to Maddox because we know Maddox is like upper tier of pitchers of all time. But hey, if he keeps doing this, he'll be one of our better pitchers of all time.
No, I think he's, to think that this was a guy that we let go. Other teams gave a flyer on. He was with Seattle, and back to the Bronx, and something just clicked, and everybody, as much fun as we have about the mustache, just something clicked with him where it may have taken a few years for him to hone his craft, but man, are the Yankees lucky that he did.
Yeah, you got to wonder what it was because I don't think it was just Matt Blake because he hasn't worked this kind of magic for everybody. Nestor's whatever is doing is working, and if it's the spin on the cutter or the fact that he's able to dial it up to 94 whenever he wants, he just, like the comment said there from Mets fan, just pitches. He doesn't try to overpower anybody. He just throws what he has in his arsenal, and it works.
Yeah. So yeah, no, we knew what you meant with the Maddox comparison, but it's still one of those top pitches, and it's because of the deception in his delivery. We saw him get really trick Devers, where it was almost like not a quick pitch, but a delayed pitch that had him kind of stuck at the plate with the bat on his shoulder. So I mean, Nestor's he's just awesome. He's so fun to watch. You can just see he's not out there just trying to do his job. He's trying to just have fun doing it. And I think that's something that really gets lost with professional sports in general. That it's really, when you're able to keep in your mind that this is just a game that I'm good at enough to make a living off of, and just go out and do your thing. Don't try to reinvent yourself, to keep up with any of the trends. Nestor Cortez just has something special in him.
He hasn't done anything different than what he was doing. It's just that he's trusting his stuff more often now, or he's throwing his better stuff. Because when he was with us in 2019, you saw like a few glimpses of being a good pitcher. Not great, not what he is now, but you saw a few glimpses of it. And then he only had a few outings with Seattle before they let him go. But then when we called him up last year, you were seeing a guy that was just like all the stuff that was all the glimpses that we saw in 2019 kind of just
came
together. Yeah. And you didn't think it would carry over because it was a hard act to follow for a full season, but he's done that. Like I said earlier, he had like a speed bump with a few bad starts, but after that he was back to his usual self. He wasn't going to keep up that Cy Young pace he was at, but he's been very good all through the year. So overall, he has been our best pitcher, and we're very lucky to have him.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, real quick, it was the combination of him and Schmidt right now is a working formula, especially if you want to limit the innings, and also you're keeping Schmidt extended at the same time, not just having him come in at one for one inning. When you're able to keep him at multiple innings, you still keep him available as a starter if you need a spot start. So I think that they're being for once. We haven't been able to say this in a while, but they're actually doing something right.
Well, when you're limiting a pitcher, you have to have that backup plan because they can't go. All right, well, if you're at 65 pitches, because like you said earlier, what if he only gives you 3 or 4? Then you got a game plan for 6 different pitchers to come into the game. So that if Nestor's on this limit, no matter how many pitches it is, Schmidt has to follow him. Because he's the only guy right now that can give you 3 innings, maybe even 4 if you need it out of the bullpen. So it is a good formula until they feel like Nestor's ready to throw a full game, which is probably going to be October.
Yeah, no, I think once October hits, I think the innings limit will be gone. They're not going to worry about it, unless their hand is forced. But with the bullpen, I don't know if before we get into back to the offense, I don't know if you noticed they had Herman in the bullpen last night.
Well, he only pitched 1 inning in his last start because they pitched him on short rest, and he went an inning, came out of the game. So maybe they just wanted to get him more work because they have the day off, and then they have the series with Milwaukee, and I think Severino's coming back. So maybe they're just trying to get him some work, but I don't know. That's weird because he's been outside of Nestor Well, he's been our best pitcher because Nestor missed some time. So
Yeah.
since the All-Star break, Herman's been the top of our rotation. I don't know what their plan is. We talked about it yesterday. We don't know what the plan is until they tell us what the plan is. We're just going to keep guessing.
Yeah, no, because what I thought was strange is we were trying to figure out and break down what their options were to, manipulate the pitching staff to get their best players in the best position, and we didn't even have we weren't really thinking of Herman as a bullpen guy. We were thinking that that could be more Severino. So it's interesting that it's looking like they're setting it up to be the other way around. Put Herman back in the bullpen, but why would you want to take such a good starter out of the rotation, especially now? So I'm gonna be curious to see where they're gonna go, where they're gonna take this the situation.
Well, I think because we have Montas going in the Milwaukee series, Tyone's supposed to pitch, and I think they already said Cole is pitching that third game because we have an extra day off in between this series going into Milwaukee, and there's another day off, and then we play Pittsburgh. I think that's how it goes. So maybe because Severino's coming back, that's their best way of getting Herman work. But if you're going to skip anybody, maybe skip Tyone.
Maybe, yeah. I think, unfortunately, it may be Tyone that kind of gets bumped. But the 6-man rotation is interesting because it's one of the baseball players and athletes in general are creatures of habit. Right? They have their way of doing things. It's always been you pitched on 5 days rest, not 6. If they're going to start really focusing on a 6-man rotation, to put it in now with some of the veteran pitchers, I think it's going to hurt their numbers. It would be something that would have to organizations individually would have to start implementing in the minor leagues to get these guys accustomed to it before getting the call up to the majors.
The only pitcher it really benefits is Ohtani to have that extra day.
Yeah, Tanaka used to benefit from it a lot.
Yeah, but even when Tanaka came here, they tried it at first and they put him on that usual you go, then the 4 guys go, and then you go again. He got used to it pretty quickly. But I don't know. 6-man rotation works if you have like 6 starting pitchers. Like we're about to have 6 starting pitchers when Sevy's back. But they're using inning limits, so I don't think you really need to skip a day. If you're using pitch limits for guys like Cortez, and I'm assuming Severino when he comes back, you don't really need to go 6-man rotation. You could have Severino follow Cortez if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but also what the other thing that was really pissing me off, and I sorry I stumbled. I was trying not to curse, but why do you? What is their problem with not just making a example out of Hicks and putting him back in that lineup and not just having him sit on the bench?
We talked about it the day after it happened, or our first show, I think, this week. We said he shouldn't be playing, but he'll probably be playing in Boston because of the left field wall, the freaking monster. So it's no surprise they played him because they pinch hit for him 2 nights ago, and they started him last night, and he made a bad throw out of left field like he usually does. So they don't learn their lesson with players, and they're just going to keep playing them because they don't have anybody else.
No, but I think it's more because they were on the road. He's trying to get Hicks on everybody's good side again. It's not going to happen. Not on our. I don't think we'll give him. He's not going to fall into our good graces again. Not after what he pulled. But at the same time, you want to put your best lineup out. So it's also like we said with the defensive ability with the left field wall. And the Green Monster. You want to have somebody that's got that's really more comfortable. So it's kind of it's a double-edged sword when it comes to Hicks. Because
really not though. You said your best lineup. None of the Yankees' best lineup, even right now, features Aaron Hicks.
No, but this is his last. It could also be his last hurrah before Bader comes back, which he had a moonshot in Somerset.
That's good. But there's Even with he's barely played left field. This is like the first time he's played mostly left field in his career, at least with us. He's been mostly in center field. So he's played some left early on with us, but I don't think he has like that great experience playing the monster like Benintendi would or Stanton would. Even Stanton looks better playing. I would even trust Andujar at this point. Aaron Hicks just can't play anymore. He's not good. Everything is in his head. He can't. When he's at the plate, he doesn't do anything. When he's playing defense, he doesn't do anything. He can't be playing. So we need Bader back, but he's a dead spot in the lineup. He's a dead spot defensively. Just put LoCastro out there if that's the case, and hope that he can bunt one and use his speed. Like that's a better option. A bunt out of LoCastro is better than what we're getting out of Aaron Hicks right now.
Yeah, the long, the long at bats just to end up in a walk. Not really, he's not contributing anything. So you see him in the lineup and you go and it all comes back to the accountability in the organization. There is none. It's you gave up on us, but we're going to give you a day off and then we'll put you back in the lineup. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry, that it doesn't work that way. That's not real life. So I don't know what Hicks has over this organization, like we always joke about. What do they have on them that they keep getting all these passes and chances to just kind of screw it all up again?
He's got 10 hits in his last 89 at bats. His on base in his last 30 games is 204. So he's not even drawing walks the way he usually does. His on base is low. Everything is low. OPS, slugging, everything, batting average. He doesn't do anything well. He's not even drawing walks at a good clip right now. He has 1 walk over his last 7 games, 3 over his last 15, 10 over his last 30. He's not doing the one thing that he's good for right now, which is drawing a walk. So there's zero reason to play him. And if Benintendi was healthy, you would not see him as often as you would. But even at this point, until Bader's back, you can't play him. I would feel more comfortable with LoCastro out there. And LoCastro is a dead spot in the order as well. But at least that if he drops a bunt or if he hits one to the shortstop, he can beat out the throw. Aaron Hicks is not doing that.
Yeah. Aaron Hicks, he just doesn't try anymore. You can even put Florial out there for anybody but Hicks.
Well, they don't play any of the young players except for Cabrera, who once again proved with the glove yesterday that he is pretty damn good, and he had a hit as well. I'm still salty that they will not play Peraza, but anybody you can put Andujar, Florial, LoCastro, even though they're not the greatest options defensively or even offensively for right now, you can't keep playing Aaron Hicks. You just cannot, and they keep doing it, so they don't learn. So at what point do we as fans just say, let's just stop complaining because they're not going to listen?
No, they're not going to listen. They already know exactly what they're going to do. Because, Aaron Hicks is, he's not even really that good of a base runner anymore. So drawing the walks doesn't really benefit. You're right.
Which he's not even doing. He's not even walking.
But what pisses me off also, you brought up Peraza and Cabrera and the kids. You brought up Cabrera. You had him directly in the lineup. Bam. It was a defensive impact right away. His bat took a game or two to get going. And then everybody's clamoring, "Oh, where's Peraza? Where's Peraza? We need somebody because IKF was, he's not a real shortstop. Let's get a real short. We need somebody that's really going to play that position properly." You call up Peraza, after that. And next thing you know, he's back. He's just sitting on the bench, and they're going back to their old ways, calling up these kids that we all want to see what we have, and we don't get to see it. We get little glimpses of it. Well, it's not enough because look what it's done to Florial. Florial was a top prospect that they kept playing games with. We're going to call you up. We're going to give you in at bat, or we're going to put you in, in as defense or a runner. But that's really all you're going to get. And we're going to expect everybody to, we're going to expect you to, your game to mature sitting on the bench. That philosophy sucks.
They've been doing it for a while. Back in 2017, they called up Andujar for one game. He had like 3 or 4 hits, and they sent him down. They've been doing it to Clint Frazier left and right when we had him as one of our top prospects. They did it to Florial, like you just mentioned. And the thing with Cabrera is he's not even hitting that well. Like, his bat has been bad. since they called him up. Yet they're still putting him in the middle of the order. They batted him leadoff once. He was batting third, I think, at one point. So they're trusting him because they need him in right field. Yet Peraza's only had a few games, and he's hitting the ball pretty well. He's drawing walks. He's getting on base at a pretty good clip for very limited plate appearances, and they don't play him. They continue to play Donaldson, who has done one good thing, has had one good game since coming back from the paternity list. And I know we haven't lost since he's come back, but you can't tell me that just having him in the lineup is making that much of an impact. No. You can replace IKF or Donaldson with Peraza. You're doing nothing for him having him sit on the bench. And this is a broken record thing that we've been saying for the last week. Every single day we see him sitting on the bench. You're doing nothing. He is your number 3 prospect. He's not some utility player that was in your top 50 or top 40 prospects. He is your number 3 prospect. This is a guy you've held on to in multiple trades because you don't want to get rid of him, and yet you finally call him up and you don't play him because Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is here, who's a better third baseman than a shortstop. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. They've been doing it since they called him up. The first day they called him up, they didn't play him until the last at-bat of a 9-0 loss, and then they started him twice, sat him, and now they've sat him, 4 or 5 games in a row? You're doing nothing for him. And at this point, you might as well send him down, but he's gonna go cold now. So the next time you play him, which could be against Milwaukee, he's probably gonna go 0 for 4, and people are gonna say, well, this is maybe why they sat him. No, you're not gonna get any better sitting on the bench.
Yeah, and especially like you said, it's not like you brought him up as a place, just as a place setter, because you have somebody out that you need to have, just in case of emergency break glass. He said, this is your number 3 prospect. This is the guy that everybody was asking for. One of the guys that everybody was asking for at the trade deadline. And this is how you treat the kid? Get out of here. I'm tired of it. I really am. It's getting annoying.
No other teams do it.
It's not just Peraza. It's been everybody. Like, you already went down the list.
Yeah, no other team does it. Like the Braves are calling up kids from Double-A and playing them every single day. The Mets called up Brett Beatty and they played him. I don't know if he's still with the team. Maybe a Mets fan there can help me out with that. But when teams call up their top prospects, they don't sit them in favor of Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. I'm not saying I don't like IKF. I can't repeat myself anymore. He's doing exactly what you'd expect, but he is replaceable. He's not doing, and so is Donaldson. If that's the case, just put Peraza at short and put IKF at third. You're not going to lose much because IKF's a Gold Glover at third and Peraza's a defensive first shortstop. It's ridiculous.
Okay, Beatty got hurt.
Okay. Well, they played him when they called him up. That's all I know. When they called him up, they played him. First game, they played him, and he had a home run, I think. Yankees let him sit on the bench until it was 9-0 and said, here, go have your first at-bat, kid.
Yeah, that would be the Yankee way. Or, or they'll say, we want to make sure we get him in the right situation. With the Yankees, there is no right situation because they never use you in the right situation. Who knows? They could have called up anybody. They're going to get the same treatment. And it was, it's almost like shame on us that we thought that things were going to be changing with all these call-ups, the way that they were used, they stuck with Cabrera. Well, all right, now we're going to start to see some of that youth movement coming in. Yep. Yeah, they're calling up, teams are calling up everybody. And which is great. The Yankees are calling up players too. But the Yankees are the team that's not freaking using them. It's like, come on now. Let us see what we got. We extended the lead again in the division. Now's the time that give all of them one game. What could it hurt?
I'm not even asking them to play Florial at this point because Andujar's been swinging the bat pretty well. So stick him back there in left field until Bader's back. But even then, you still got to figure out left field because if Judge is going to go back to right, can Cabrera play left? I'm sure he could, but just why are you letting your number 3 prospect sit? Why? None of it makes sense.
There's no reason. There's no excuse for it.
Your number 3, you held him from – he was the holdup from you potentially getting Lopez in the Marlins deal. You kept him out of multiple trades. You probably could have had Olsen in the offseason from Oakland. You could have had one of their pitchers in the offseason, and you wouldn't have had to get one midseason. And they held him out of all these trade talks, and they call him up, because the fan pressure, they use him as a September call-up. If that's how you were going to use him, you should have just given the spot to Tyler frickin' Wade. Like, at least if it was Tyler Wade, you wouldn't be, you'd be saying, oh my God, how can you not play him right now? He's a bench piece. Oswald Peraza is not a bench piece. He is a future starter. This is why you did not sign a shortstop in the offseason, because of who you had in the minor leagues. Peraza and Volpe. Volpe's played more second base than Peraza has, I believe, so you can move him over if that's the case. But if this is one of your guys you pinpointed as the future, and this is how you use him when you call him up, the Yankees organization is a joke, and it starts with Brian Cashman.
Yeah. No, it is a joke. And they could have very well. I think what you said was spot on. If this is what you're going to do with Peraza, you might as well just give it us Tyler Wade. At least with Tyler Wade, we already knew we wouldn't be having such high expectations. Well, we wouldn't be complaining if he was sitting on the bench, like you said. But I mean, come on now. Enough is enough. I hate repeating. I hate sounding like I keep repeating myself, but it's just that aggravating. It's like they have no idea what they're doing, and then they'll screw around with them in the next year in spring training. I bet you we barely see these guys.
No, you'll see them at first, and then they'll send them down when the rosters drop a little bit, and they'll start the same players, because I don't think anyone's taking Donaldson. But we only have a few minutes left, so we might as well talk about Gleyber Torres, because he has been heating up. He did it again yesterday, another big hit that ended up being, it was just a single that everyone scored on, but the Red Sox defense, like you called it earlier, is a circus. So luckily for us, that defense was a circus, because who knows how that game goes without that play. And the bullpen, our bullpen, almost coughed it up. Clay Holmes again giving up a run of the ninth inning. But Gleyber Torres, he's having fun out there, and the confidence is through the roof, which is when he's at his best. So hopefully he keeps that going.
Yeah, no, his at-bats, we also were saying yesterday, it's slowly, you were starting to see it slowly improve. Yeah, and it's just a matter of time before he just gets completely hot. And he might be that guy that, maybe you want to have a little, not right behind Judge, but have a little closer to Judge in that lineup. Just to get a little, behind the scenes type protection, because you're not going to have him bat third, because you want to keep the lineup extended. So having him and maybe having him no lower than fifth in the lineup, and bump Donaldson down. I don't know why they keep him in that spot. That's beyond me. But what do I know? I'm not the computer that spits the shit out. But it's Gleyber is one of those players that we needed him to get hot, and thankfully it is it's coming now.
Yeah, we needed it. We definitely needed it, and hopefully Stanton starts to swing the bat better, and we get healthy. Rizzo should be coming back soon, and we'll see when LeMahieu comes back. But Bader's on the comeback, and anything is an upgrade over Aaron Hicks. So get some bats back, and hopefully they just keep turning out W's, because the sooner we can clinch this division, the better.
Yeah. No, that's what we need to clinch. I know there's still a ways to go on it, but we really do need Rizzo back too. As not that Gonzalez is like a bum, but he's not a first baseman. You need a legitimate first baseman, especially if you're going to have, if you want to really have a solid defense. It all comes down to your corners, and not the corner. It comes down to shortstop and first base. That's the foundation of your defense. So we really do need Rizzo back. And that's going to wrap things up for us today. Thank you everybody for the comments. Thank you, Nick, for the comments. But Yankees are off to Milwaukee. That should be an interesting series. You don't see them out there too often. But that's going to wrap things up for us today. Just remember, like, share, comment, and subscribe. As always, check us out on Northeast Streaming Sports, on Facebook, on Twitch, on YouTube. And we will talk to you tomorrow.